September 16th, 1979. The flame of Vishnu is supposed to be ever effulgent and lustrous. Because it has entered this body doesn't mean a change in quality. Whether that flame enters into an animal or a human being, it does not lose its natural quality. Even if you claim it as your own, saying, I am, it is still one. The empire of consciousness is yours, and when you realize that, you will know that you are not a person. Maharaj has said that the I am is the consciousness through which comes the world. Behind that is awareness, but there is no I consciousness. Implicit in the word awareness is this existence. Existence also implies proprietorship. That means whose existence is it? One comes back to the feeling of I. Who is understanding, knowing, your awakened state? The I am. The waking state is I amness. But who observes that I amness? Before that waking state, are you not there? That awareness or sense of being has a reference point, and the reference point always has to come back to that which feels its existence as being an I-ness. There is no proprietor behind that feeling of awareness. How can you know that? It only is. It is beyond description. Words cannot be of any use. That is the permanent state, and this manifestation is only its movement. Nobody becomes a Parabrahman. Nobody can become a Parabrahman. It is. Before the knowledge I am appeared on you, that is Parabrahman. It's understandable that the I am equates with the ego and mind. Now God, in his own description of himself, says, I am that I am, as being the truth. There are two involved. One I is the substratum and the other is the moving cosmos. If one reverts back and gets beyond the I amness, there still remains a sense of I. If you revert properly, the consciousness I am will disappear. There is no movement. Guru has been compared to the sun in that Guru radiates light, and it is incumbent on the seeker to turn toward that light. Guru is only pure consciousness which is all-pervading. But the books describe situations in which the sadhaka is looking for his master, and it is said that the guru looks harder and yearns more to find the sadhaka. Don't quote any books here. Ask directly. Don't even use the word guru. Purest consciousness. That's all. There is a seeker who is seated before this purest consciousness. It is said that the pure consciousness manifests itself personally as well as impersonally. Can he then take a personal interest in the sadhaka rather than having the sadhaka turn to the light? He is a real seeker who desires to get knowledge of the self only. The rest of the desires will entitle you to be called jiva and not sadhaka. This is only the kite flying of your intellect. Does that mean that the sadhaka before him loves the pure consciousness more than the pure consciousness loves him? There are not two. There are one. There is no difference. That is on the absolute plane. If you feel that stream of love flowing, it is your own pure consciousness which is flowing. Don't think that you are loving somebody or caring for the guru, or that the guru must care for you. It is your own self which is wanting to know and which is flowing with love. That love is the self, loving the self. But is it not true that there is something coming from the pure consciousness continually to help realize this? The remembrance of the Guru strikes only those whom the whole pure consciousness is wanting to be one with. We are led to believe that a pure mind is one of the requisites to achieve self-realization. By pure, do we understand auspicious thoughts within that mind, or any thought at all, regardless of its content? Throw off the mind completely. It is only the indication of the body-mind consciousness. You are without shape or name. When the water comes out of the river, has it changed in quality? The receptacle of that water is only imagination. Water is one. Who is manifesting through all the great incarnations? Who is also manifesting through the donkeys and pigs? All is consciousness only. September 17, 1979. In Western theology, there is a great law of sacrifice which has two benefits. If one sacrifices bad habits, not only is their recurrence overcome, but willpower is built also. The other benefit of sacrificing bad habits is that when the moment comes to ask for something, surely it will be granted. Does this law hold true with Maharaj also? This is absolutely correct. Willpower grows and you are granted what you want. Sacrifice is giving up and donating yourself. In higher expression, it is called detachment. Can Maharaj recommend what we might give up initially in order to achieve this end? When you come here, I do not take you to be an ordinary person. I assume that you have studied enough before you came here. Therefore, I do not tell you openly to leave this or that, because I believe your standard is very high, very much higher. You are not an ordinary seeker. You have a superior intellect. That is why I talk to you like this. That kind of confidence makes it difficult for me to live up to that standard. I do not ask you to keep up to a certain standard. I only ask you to see what is. Relating to this question about sacrifice being helpful to attain what one wants, is not wanting itself a habit? Does not wanting come out of ignorance? The raindrops are falling. Is it not the nature of the rain to fall, of the wind to blow? To want something is natural, so long as there is the identity with the body-mind. Once that is transcended, there will be no wants. My experience has been that the more I detach from the body-mind, the less I want, and the more my needs are simply fulfilled. Even to think that you are becoming detached is not correct, because you are already detached. When your ego is completely dissolved, then you are employing multitudes of bodies. Knowingly or unknowingly, everything manifests and there is no individuality. It is all-pervading. It is not necessary to do it knowingly. It is simply happening. There's no question of knowing or not knowing. Yes. Why does this conflict normally occur? Why the dispute between us? People come here with some profound concepts of spirituality. They think that they have spiritual knowledge, and they want me to give them a clean certificate. Yes, you are very knowledgeable. This I don't do. I blast their concepts, and hence the confrontation. This is how the disharmony works. Yes, it is for this confrontation that I have come here. Yet the mind, the thing that holds the concepts, is afraid. Only willpower sustains me. Who is the knower of the willpower? If Maharaj wants to ask about the knower, the mind can always give an answer. The mind is always capable of giving a concept. But I am now seeing what that is, and as best I can, am making an effort. It's all right. I know that you are identifying with that mind consciousness. I know it. I know it too. Try to know that I. Yes, when I first came to know that I was coming here, the mind became very excited, with many questions and ideas of what it was like to be with Maharaj, but I saw very clearly that it was the play of the mind. So for me to come here each morning with questions, for me personally, I know it is the play of the mind. For me, it must come in the confrontation. Now that you have understood the quality of the mind, have you attained peace? There have been moments, and then the mind again rambles. You know that you are not the mind. Did you reach that state in which you witnessed the play of the mind earlier or when you came here? Earlier. That was a part of the development. 10 years ago, something happened to me. From what has been said, what you call Satguru appears to be this thing that I have no name for. I have followed that call for 10 years. There is no difference between that inner thing and what I'm experiencing with Maharaj. I have a question on technique. When one closes the eyes and dwells in the I Am, initially there is darkness which is observed. It is known that that twilight can be changed into clarity and it will become infinite. How can you achieve that? Why do you want to change it? If it is within the capability of the one perceiving that darkness to change it into light, why hang about in the darkness? Why not enjoy the light? Who are you to turn it into light? It is in that darkness that several lights of lights are flowing. That is not darkness. It is the pool of nectar. Dive into it. Let it be. There is another problem encountered in the state of I am, that initially the state is felt to be contained in the head itself, and it develops into a tremendous force whose release is actually the spilling over of the consciousness to fill, say, a room. Is this proper? Speak without the body consciousness. That consciousness which you say spills into the room spontaneously occupies the room and the cosmos totally. In the process of stabilizing, it expands into the cosmos. When it expands fully, then it stabilizes in the Brahma aperture, the Brahma Marandra. There are many students of Kundalini Yoga, of Shakti. Does the Jnani necessarily, through his practice, through his being, awaken the Kundalini that others speak about? The Jnani has no interest whatsoever in the Kundalini. Prior to your birth, where was the Kundalini? This Kundalini is all that you perceive, all that you see. They call it by different names, that's all. But some yogis concentrate a force which goes through the 7 chakras and presumably follows the spinal column. What you say is correct, but prior to your birth it was not there. It is only a thought. Are they all deluded then in pursuing the study of Kundalini Yoga? Anyone who wants to practice anything can do so, but what is it? Zero, nothing. From what is being said, it appears that all of this remains a play in consciousness, and if one chooses to identify with consciousness, one can play an infinite number of games. Whatever one chooses or likes, he is invited to follow that profession or entertainment. What we have been doing is trying to play the real game, and yet it all remains a game in consciousness. You are not playing. You are witnessing. I have seen that what has kept me playing in consciousness is fear that nothing will happen. The moments that I have been apparently free from consciousness, things happen anyhow, but they don't arise out of my desire. They happen because the universe pushes them. When you see that, are you in the consciousness? At least it appears that I am out of it. I see the dream for a dream. You don't know whether you are in it or out of it. You simply witness it. As long as there is the connection in the body, it seems to me that the witness is still in the dream in some way. Yes, he is not awake, it is a dream. It's like those moments between dream and awakening when one is suddenly aware that one is dreaming. There is no break in the continuity of one who wakes up in that dream. I am awake in the dream. That dream is yourself. Whatever you see is not the dream. That is the I that you are, that consciousness that sees everything sees through the dream itself. Will the mantra be useful in moments of mental fluctuation? Yes, it is for that only, to check your fluctuating mind. September 18th, 1979. In practice, I am discovering that there is a subtle difference right now in being the consciousness I am. I can meditate I am, but there is not the feeling that I am. It just seems to be exterior to something. When you feel that you are separate from the feeling I am, isn't there something or someone who knows that there is a difference? No, it's just a sensation. Find out. Are you separate unknowingly? It feels like an observation. Are we all here because of our own volition to be born, or has this knowingness appeared in us unknowingly? Unknowingly. This beingness has come to you without your knowledge, but you are using it according to your own volition. I want to sentence that individuality to death. Is it not justice that I pronounce this sentence? So think carefully. That individuality must go. Parabrahman is purest justice and truth. We are not speaking here today because of our own volition. We think we have choice, but we don't. You may achieve samadhi for a day or a month, but when you return to normal, the consciousness is not different. You think that you have achieved samadhi, but that which thinks this is already there and has not come by your choice. Is it possible to lose body consciousness, as in samadhi, while maintaining I amness? During samadhi, that knowingness, I am, is held in abeyance. But nothing goes. Nothing is lost? No, nothing is lost. Is this the same thing as I am, this will, volition? It is the I amness. It appears spontaneously, and then it is put to use out of volition. Witnessing happens to the principle prior to consciousness, to the Absolute, but the Absolute witnesses with the aid of consciousness. In the dream, there is no physical eye present, but still you see. The substratum of everything is that awareness. But the Absolute appear and disappear spontaneously. That state, prior to the consciousness, is always there. This appearing and disappearing spontaneously is the quality of the consciousness. Normally the guru expounds according to the level of the person. Normally he tells the ignorant that on dissolution or death everything merges into consciousness. He doesn't talk about the principle prior to consciousness, because not all will understand. Will the jnani have another dawn after the sun has descended? Can he effect another consciousness? There is no rising or setting for this jnani principle. You cannot condition a jnani by your words. He is the Absolute. Can there be awareness without consciousness? The Absolute, the awareness, is the supporting principle for the consciousness. But awareness of what? Can there be awareness without an object to be aware of? In the Para-Brahman state, the quality of knowingness is not present, nor does it have any embellishments or decorations like the manifest consciousness. The Para-Brahman state does not know, it is. Neither does it have this manifestation. In spite of the dissolution of universes and cosmos, that Absolute is untouched. It exists. That principle is now talking with the aid of consciousness. In the realm of the consciousness, this manifestation is going on continually. I used to live on an island, and I would often watch the ocean. Waves appeared and disappeared constantly, and I realized that this is the concept, that there was no difference in the play of the waves and what I was seeing in the world, that my individuality was only one momentary hash. But my realization remains a description of an experience only. The Absolute is beyond the consciousness which is manifest. That is the play of that dynamic life force, that ocean of knowledge. Is that principle absent when the waves are still? The Absolute has no connection with this ocean consciousness principle. But without the Absolute, it cannot be. The Absolute is the support of the principle. September 19, 1979. I started a course in concentration a few years ago, and after a while it helped me to the hooks and handles for controlling the mind. I remained one with the exercise for some time. It was the mental visualization of an object against a black background, to the exclusion of all else. I understand that the practice of concentration is so powerful that it can change the convolutions of the brain itself. Can I continue that practice, and what will be the end result? Unless you know yourself, you will not realize the effects of that concentration. Once you know yourself, you will not need the concentration. Whose is the concentration? For what? The ability to make the mind one-pointed is the precursor to any form of meditation. To be able to still the mind is the cornerstone of any type of realization, because all thoughts must be uprooted before that which is behind them makes itself evident. That's why I chose the study of meditation. Does whatever you want to learn, achieve, or realize come through meditation or concentration? Prior to meditation, is there some entity already present? Yes. You are not going to have the birth of that entity through your meditation. It is already present. I can identify that entity more readily if there are no obtrusive thoughts clouding it. It is only because of all those thoughts that you are not reaching the entity that you desire to reach. But I am now only because I have been able to still and control the mind through the practice of concentration. You will your realization or understanding according to whatever meaning you attach to your conceptions or imaginations. It's generally agreed that meditation is useful in trying to attain the prerequisite sensations. For instance, the meditation on I am, the all-penetrating and infinite light. I am will lead one to the threshold of the state to which Maharaj is referring. Yes, this meditation is to lead you to be a sadhaka. What are you seeking? Meditation is only an initial state. But is it an aid? The sadhaka must practice meditation. To reach that particular center which you are seeking, meditation is absolutely necessary. The meditator is prior to the meditation. Last night in my meditation, what Maharaj had said about the answer preceding the question came to mind, and I saw that indeed the question can only come from having contacted the answer. A problem arose. When Maharaj says that we are not the body, does he mean body as form? Have you any knowledge of how this body came into existence? The body and awareness came about at the same time. I don't have prior knowledge of the body. You must know why this body came, how this consciousness came on you. If this question is to be answered truthfully, that is still before me, something which I am seeking to know. You think over only that point, that question. How did this consciousness appear on you? If the ultimate reality is in all the atoms of the universe, is not the body in its very atomic substance the ultimate reality? What atom is responsible for this body? Have you an answer? What is responsible for the body, world, jiva, and God is the I am. When it arises, so do all others. What next? The body comes about as a conflux of two fluids. The instructions inherent in those fluids compose the form. That is how the body is derived. The knowledge I am was absent during the 9 months in the fetus. That I amness came after the body was born. No, Maharaj said that the I am was created at the time of conception. At the point of conception, did you know that you were present? No, but that may be due only to my inability then. Until you met your mother, did you know anything? After being indoctrinated, you became conscious that you are a body, a son, etc. You did not even remember yourself until then. That is not consistent with what has been said previously. Whatever was said previously does not pertain to you at all. Throw it out. The material for making sugar is in the sugar cane. You take the sugar and throw the cane out. Similarly, whatever is said now is the sugar which has been derived from the cane. That sweetness has neither name nor form. You know it. I know it. This taste of sweetness that you are. What is going to happen to that taste? I go on tasting. That taste is not everlasting. That taste will not last. Once you understand this, what is your future? The future remains a mystery. Can that sweetness have a mystery? That sweetness will eventually disappear, so the mystery can't be in the sweetness. The taste is not the mystery. The taster is the mystery. Is consciousness the taster? You know that. You know the answer. The taste is of the elements. The source of the body is the elements. You are not the body. The combination of the body and the vital breath generates this consciousness. You are not the consciousness. You are the underlying principle. Be in that. To be here and hear Maharaj repeated over and over is quite a different matter from suddenly confronting it directly. And in that moment of first confrontation, one is not completely clear. Who is to confront whom? It is all thoughts. You have understood something, and you can't admit that you have understood. So keep quiet, be in that. Where are you coming from? You. I am coming from Ramana Ashram. Are you having good samadhan there? If samadhan means inner peace, yes, very much so. If a liquid is boiled to remove the impurities in it, the condition when bubbles cease to rise is called samadhan. So long as there is any vritti, movement in the mind, it is not samadhan. I am still getting some bubbles. The deeper my dhyana, meditation, contemplation, the weaker and more painful is my body. The condition distracts my mind. Would Maharaj suggest something? For some time such conditions may appear. Even Ramana Maharshi had some suffering at one time in the body, burning sensation. Don't be afraid of them. Gently continue your meditation, study, and namasmaranam, remembrance of the name. In sadhana, each one's experience will be different due to the differences in the prakriti, nature, and gunas, qualities of the instrument. I request Maharaj to bless me with the necessary courage and inner strength to ignore the body-mind. With full, unshakable faith in Ramana Maharshi, continue your practice. You can come here and listen to me, but remember that your Satguru is Ramana Maharshi. I am returning to Ramanasaram tomorrow. Would Maharaj give me something of his prasad that I can keep with me? My prasad for you is this, that you should have Puma, Nishta Bhakti, full of unshakable devotion to your Guru Ramana Maharshi. Come what may, rain or shine, pleasure or pain, life or death, your faith should not be shaken. You don't have to go anywhere or see any of the saints. He is your Guru. Would Maharaj tell us what is the benefit of being here in his presence? It cannot be measured. You cannot measure space, and similarly the good fortune of having a Satguru is immeasurable. If you can understand that, you are fortunate. Before coming here, I thought that my heart was cold, but now that eye is defrosting in the presence of the great defroster. Let anything come and go. You are only a witness. Don't get wounded or involved in this melting process. It is only on the mental level and different from yourself. Whatever experience is derived through the mind cannot affect you. You are beyond mental cognition, beyond the elements. The mind is made of those elements only. September 20th, 1979. What are virtue and faith? Virtue is what you possess when you know what you are, and live in that knowledge. Knowing truth, you must act. Virtue is behavior then, and it comes as a blessing from the sage rather than something one can acquire. Similarly, faith is required for self-realization, and it also comes as a gift from the sage. Would Maharaj comment on these two statements? What you have said is correct, and it is said for the good of an individual's behavior. But what I say is only about the universal manifestation, and not about personality. Maharaj has mentioned on occasion an advanced soul. Observation has it that all souls are similar. There is neither superiority nor inferiority, but rather there is the feeling of the brotherhood of all mankind. We are intimately connected with all the universal scene. That universal brotherhood is present in every atom, whether in the food or in the body. When my individuality is given up, dissolved, my body and all the activities become universal. They are of universal use. There is no claiming any action out of it as mine. Maharaj didn't quite answer my question. You are asking as an individual, and I am replying as the manifest principle. As for how an individual should behave with others, there are different schools. Yesterday a question was asked about the efficacy of fasting, and Maharaj gave an individual answer. The answer was for the ignorant, and not the advanced seeker. I was seeking aids which would help toward self-realization. There is no question of self-realization. That you realizes everything, experiences everything, witnesses everything. You are prior to that. Whatever deep conviction you hold on to in the core of you will happen. The questions that I ask, aside from the major ones which have already been answered, are the small brushstrokes which give the final touch to the painting. When you have become the very soul of all the souls, is it necessary that you should seek the help of others on how to apply the final touches? You don't depend on anybody. Everything depends on your conviction that you are. The picture is complete now. You have come to get your recognition. Your recognition abides in the self. This is a new experience, a new adjustment. It is not new at all. It is most ancient and eternal. I know. It is said that we should surrender. What do we surrender? Ourselves. We surrender not only our possessions, we surrender the entire knowledge. There are various types of charity, but the greatest charity is the renunciation of the knowledge, I am. When you give that up, you escape birth and death. Now, how should we move in the world? Just leave off moving. You are doing nothing. Waking state represents activity. Deep sleep represents peace, quiet. When these two are present, it means I am is there. But you, the Absolute, are neither the waking state, deep sleep, nor I amness. Why do I feel only this body as me, a particular body as mine? Stop thinking about that body. Take hold only of the waking and deep sleep state as you. How can I eliminate the fear of death? Because you have faith in death, you are pampering it. Do not ask any questions for 15 days. Listen quietly to the questions and the answers. All your questions will be answered automatically. Just keep quiet. Among all this crowd, if one should open up, that is good enough for me. This is the last step from beingness to no beingness. Whatever the acquisitions or accumulations of the last millions of births, they will be exploded here. At lunch yesterday, some of us were commenting on that very fact. This is a unique and ideal place wherein you can bring something and get lots of nothing in return. Very apt. The totality of nothingness. I have a question. Would a dog know that he is a dog, or would he just know I am? It is you that call him a dog. He does not know that he is a dog. Do dogs have a sensation? I am hungry when they are hungry, or just a sensation of hunger? The reason I ask is that a famous yogi said that most animals just have an awareness of hunger. They have no I amness. He knows, even animals know. His only identity is body. He knows it by his body. Therefore, he always tries to protect his own body, just as birds, insects, and human beings protect their bodies to preserve their I amness. People who practice meditation apparently reach other levels of consciousness within the I. Are these levels as real as the three primary states, or are they a creation of the mind? Know that knowingness only. Your beingness is like a tape recorder or a film in which all this has already been recorded and is being projected in the waking state, sleep, meditation, or whatever. But the primary condition is the I consciousness. When you get this self-knowledge and abide in the quietude, you will realize that all the universes are already present in this atomic consciousness. All this knowledge is worldly knowledge, but you have to understand to realize that. At present you have the knowledge of the words that have been given to you about that beingness. But when you abide in the beingness, you will realize that all is the play of consciousness. When you realize that it is already recorded in that consciousness of yours, you will discard it. That consciousness is disposable. The I is full of desires. Instead of trying to fulfill the desires, find out what this I is. Understand, desire. Nothing in the world has any attraction for me. If someone brings me gold or diamonds, I will tell him to take them away. What good are they to me? I can't eat them. For me, the memory of my guru is the most precious. I did not even bother about the power of doing miracles. For those powers, you have to follow certain rituals, certain disciplines. The sage then has no siddhis, powers, because he didn't observe those rituals. A jnani does not seek powers because he has recognized that that atomic consciousness contains it all. It is multi-energy, multi-power, and he has already discarded it. Does Maharaj follow a lineage of Navanath? I follow all variations. Does Maharaj consider himself as following in the footsteps of his guru? He has no footsteps, he has no feet. September 21st, 1979. If all manifestation is considered illusion, how does it differ from thought? It is only for worldly activity that the distinction is made. It is all the same. When one says he is free from thought, he can be free from intellectual meditation, but if his eyes are open, the illusion persists. Is that free from thought? Take out the word illusion and substitute the word Brahma. It is only the words you can change, nothing else. You go to Ijani for knowledge, but of what are you seeking knowledge, and who is it that seeks knowledge? The knowledge you are seeking is about Maya or illusion, but you will not give adequate attention to who it is who wants the knowledge. The sage is the one who can clarify all questions, be they relative or absolute, and that is why such questions are put to the sage. When you put questions, do you feel that they will solve your problems? Are you asking them from the content of the question? And are you keeping yourself in view when you ask? What is perplexing me now is the individual's comportment in life after leaving here. I am concerned as to how the mind will fend for itself in supporting the body in its activities. When the mind becomes absolutely purified, it will look after everything. I understand, but it is the wait until the purification occurs that distracts me. So long as the vital breath is flowing, the mind will be flowing. I seem to be coming to a bifurcation in the road, and that's why I am only telling you that this body, vital breath, and consciousness are one, and you are beyond it. Your mind will decide how you should behave when you go back. Let the body and mind work according to their own inclinations and the conditions, but no, you are not them. I was wondering whether I should go to a tropical island somewhere and sit under a tree and absorb this, or go back into society and continue what I did before. Are you going to purify your body or your vital breath? Right. If you think that this talk is stupid, throw it out and do what you like. I don't insist that you should listen to me and abide by my words. I have understood what Maharaj has been saying, and he has been repeating it in several different fashions. I understand. What else is there except that touch of I am? Why do you worry about discovering Maya and Brahma and all that? Understand what this principle I am is, and you are finished. That I am is in bondage because of concepts. Returning to the relative state, should I go back to the activity in which I was engaged before coming here? That person, does it relate to the body, the vital breath, or the I am? The body. How are you the witness of these three entities concerned? They can carry on work for thousands of years. In what way are you concerned? The question arose because you are considering the body which will decompose and decay when the vital breath leaves it. You are identifying with and embracing that body. Yes, your nearest relatives, including your wife and son, will not approach that body when it decomposes. That's quite true. Having understood, carry on your business. Don't worry. It is said that when Rama wanted to cross over the sea from India to Lanka, the monkeys helped him quite a bit. Therefore he blessed them all with heaven. Those same monkeys have come to enjoy themselves now in the Western countries. They are enjoying the boon of material and heavenly pleasure that Rama gave. The rishis who have done a lot of penance with the intention of gaining heaven are also born there and enjoy themselves. Now they have had enough and have started coming here in order to search for Rama again. September 22nd, 1979. No great man having taken birth has wrought an iota of change in the consciousness. What is, is. It will never change. You just have to see and know. No action or ritual is called for. Unknowingly, this knowingness has appeared in you, and you have to go through it, willingly or unwillingly. The experience is there, and somebody comes later to experience it. No one can change what he has to face as experience so long as he is identifying with the body and mind. When there are floods or fires, loss or gain, you just have to accept them. That is consciousness working. I had an interesting experience last night. I was sitting alone enjoying my dinner when a very boorish man with his family came in and commandeered my table. telling me that I should not have the table to myself. I felt like hitting the guy. What is one supposed to do? You must restrain yourself as much as possible. It would not have been the body restraining itself. The body does nothing. The body is protected by the vital breath and that quality of beingness. Vital breath is responsible for all movement, and the quality of beingness sits on a high pedestal and watches. Is there a state where you feel that beingness is unrelated to the body? Why don't you steady yourself in that beingness? Forget the body sense, and what remains is only you, Turiya, superconscious state. I have faith that I am everything. There is nothing else, but it only comes rarely and for a short time. Even when you witness that everything is you, it is still the quality of the five elemental body and will not last. Waking state, deep sleep, and this Turiya, all these are temporary states. Then what is eternal? That one which you have not forgotten. The eternal state is beyond the state of remembering and forgetting. Where's the proof? At that stage, whatever the principle is that is demanding proof, only that principle remains. In that state there is nothing. So where is the question of producing proof, and for whom? What I meant is, at what stage do you feel that you have it? There is nobody else. There is you only. What you are doing is trying to identify with God, but God can't be unless you are. I don't believe in God. If you don't believe in God, do you believe in Buddy? Who rejects God? Who is that? Me? What is that me? It is just a feeling. You are God. If God is not, you are not. If God is, you are. When Christ said that he and the Father were one, was he referring to his Father as Iswara and not as the Supreme Being? The one whose actions are responsible for the beingness is the Father. Christ was not referring to a physical being as the Father? I would not like to decide that. Since Christ was there, the beingness was sustained by the food body. Christ is a great sage. Don't involve yourself in his ancestry. Meditate on him. Be yourself sanctified with his memory. In the process, you will be purified. No form will be left of you. In Western tradition, there have been many saints and sages who have cured people of various afflictions. The Eastern sage tends not to get involved in healing. Why is that? An Eastern sage also has powers to perform miracles. In the process of curing people, naturally his status would be elevated, and he would be held in high esteem by society. With the result, there is the chance that he will develop pride. But there is no one there to feel pride. Don't get involved in concepts. It will strangle you. Rarely some sage can perform miracles and not feel pride. The sage does not have pride. Who is there to have pride? All the activities of this manifest world are through the consciousness. You are imagining a sage with the body. This beingness is contained in all the five elements, but it is not personal. It is universal. If you go to sleep with the knowledge that you are consciousness, that same thought will prevail through the day. Sleep with the conviction that the body is space. It is the thought that you are the body that brings suffering. Keep in mind every day that you are not the body, that you are simply the knowledge, the consciousness. After my death, my body will be transformed into space, so why not presume that it is the space now? This is adding more concepts. I am getting rid of the concept that you are the body. Why do you say that I am adding more concepts? To say that my body is space is another concept. The very soul of all concepts is I am. To think I am space before going to sleep is a technique. You had better quit and tell everyone that you came across a fool and that he would have hanged you, but somehow you saved yourself. I was telling you the nature of that consciousness. I want to gradually make you free from all concepts. Just by saying that everything is a concept does not free you. You will merely go from a gross concept to a subtler one. When you are entertaining gross concepts such as I am the body, they multiply into more concepts. My body is ill. I must take pills. I must see a doctor, etc. Suppose you say, I am space. What further concept can you have? I want to take you to that I am concept, which is the last outpost of illusion, and get rid of it. Understand the quality of these concepts. I have a question. Earlier, Maharaj said that the attentiveness should always be present. Can attentiveness be experienced as a feeling? Feeling seems to be prior to the knowing. There is an underlying sensation of always knowing that I am. Is that equal to perceiving, witnessing? The feeling is the same as attention. When you are aware, I am the seer, I am the knower. That simply is, and it has no shape. That knowledge is formless. When you embrace the form, the problems arise. September 23, 1979. I expect nothing of you. I make myself freely available to you. If an ignorant person understands and imbibes what I say, he will be liberated. Why? Because of faith in the Guru, in the precious words of the Guru. People who depend on the intellect only always will be swinging like a pendulum. Imbibe fully whatever I have told you, make it your own. There is no question of any aids or discipline. By your firm conviction alone, you transcend everything. What capital is available to you? Only that I am. It is a product of the 5 elemental food essence. First, you become this consciousness. Then you realize that you are the manifestation. Because this body is created out of this gross earth, vegetation, etc. It is the receptacle of all dirt and disease. But this very body can be put to proper use for realization if you depend for guidance on the words of the Guru. The one who realizes the self, his place becomes a place of pilgrimage for many afterwards. Just like Sai Baba, people go and worship his statue and their prayers are answered. What is that statue? It is made of rock. Whatever my Guru said, I implicitly followed with full conviction. And with that conviction, I got results. You must have the conviction that the highest God or deity is the knowledge I am. But you must get these words from a Guru who is himself a jnani, the one who has recognized and transcended this knowledge I am. The Bhagavad Gita says that we have senses of knowledge. These are very subtle. More subtle than the senses is the mind. More subtle than the mind is the intellect, and subtler than these is the vital breath. And yet more subtle is the beingness, the I am. The Absolute is not these entities. You are not the Absolute. I am not able to understand what Maharaj is saying. You know you are sitting here. Be attentive to that knowledge only. Just be in your beingness. That knowingness, I am, has created the entire universe. Hold on to that. Nothing has to be done. Once you recognize that principle, it becomes tranquil. Become one with that, and all your needs will be satisfied. At no stage forget that principle. Whatever you are doing, your attention should be there. When you are eating food, who is eating? Only that beingness. Whatever you are doing is the beingness. Pay attention to that beingness. When I am very attentive to what is being translated, the I am seems to disappear. There is no thought arising in me. Are you happy with that? There is neither happiness nor unhappiness. I am simply tranquil in witnessing. No feeling is involved. Do you understand it, or are you merely intellectually wrestling with yourself? I am not wrestling. Are you at peace with yourself? That is the ultimate criterion. Not all the time. When I am not attentive to it, I get involved. Who is it that says this? That knowingness only comes afterward. Yesterday a lot of emotion came out. I was blinded by it. While it was happening, I was not aware that I was not that. At the time of the emotions, you were one with the emotion. You were not witnessing. Would an enlightened being be involved in that sense, or would he be watching? Your beingness is one. It does not become one or the other, but because that beingness has identified itself with your body, mind, emotions, the trouble starts. Keep that consciousness separate, then you will not be involved. after an emotional outburst, why is there something like a cleansing feeling? That was a temporary state of mind. When that state of mind disappears, you go back to your natural peaceful state. A yogi has a trick by which he is out of this misery and happiness. He holds the vital breath in abeyance. But the problem is not solved. It is a state. You have all the senses and the mental factor. You have to understand the function of each and put it to proper use. Don't say that you are not going to use it. Don't keep it out of function. Use it fully because sustenance is to be obtained through it. You must understand that you are not involved in it. You are only a witness. If you want to become a king, you must have your subjects, an army, an administration. Similarly, to become a jnani, you must have this paraphernalia and understand it. Only then do you rule. Do the three states, witnessing is water consciousness, and the absolute happen at the same time? This is the actual state of affairs. Today you feel that you are the body. Give that idea up. I am this manifestation only. Be there. You are the manifest Bhagavan, is water principle. It is a simple meditation. You start scratching and continue to scratch until the blood comes. That is the intellectual wrestling. Just be still. Let it settle down. Don't dig up questions. I have been very open, very explicit. I've been telling you that you are not the body, you are the knowledge only, and that this vital breath is your conveyance, a tool by which you carry out your activities, and the knowledge I am is very subtle. Because of your knowledge, you are, and the world is. I am inclined to think that in future I must say 1,000 rupees cash down to listen to my talks. Only then will you be serious. I should charge you 1,000 rupees and give the entire course in one day. What is the use of your staying here for a month? When you charge for something, it becomes very precious. In the past, people used to give kingdoms for this knowledge. There were so many disciplines, they had to live in the forest and live on berries and fruit. They could not store food. Those were the conditions. September 25th, 1979. It's very hard to convince myself that I am the I am. There is always this little feeling inside that I am beyond it. So how can I embrace the I am totally? Don't employ words. It is like a seed that has been planted, and then you have to water every day for 3 months before the sprouting takes place. What you have heard should subside inside. It must be assimilated. This is all worldly knowledge. Just watch. You are here from an ashram? Yes. Do you have faith in your guru? Yes, I have faith in him. Why leave that guru and wander around like this? You must go to him only. I am not satisfied. I have a lot of reservations. If you have reservations, it is best that you leave him. Otherwise, completely surrender yourself, doubts and convictions, everything. If you have accepted one guru, implicit faith and complete surrender is very necessary. Serving the guru is following whatever guidance he gives you through words. You must imbibe and become one with those words. Before you surrender to any guru, you are free to move anywhere, a freelance spiritual seeker. Go anywhere, collect spiritual information, do what you like. But once you accept a guru, there must be complete surrender. Don't think that the guru is some person. It is not so. The guru is that beingness, and beingness is manifestation. All the world is beingness, and that is the guru. Does this hold true if one has a guru who is no longer embodied? Maharaj has said that if one has surrendered to a guru, one should not shop around. If that guru was no more, how could you experience the world? The one who recognizes this beingness and transcends it is the Satguru. Otherwise, there are gurus who are just shopkeepers, trading in spirituality. When Maharaj speaks absolutely, am I identical to Maharaj, or am I equivalent? We are one. Abide in the words of the Guru. This disciple is obsessed by the concept which is standing on his shoulders. My Guru gave this same knowledge to various disciples, but the behavior of each disciple is different. Each has a different concept about what the Guru has said, and he hangs on to the personal concept which he likes the most. Try to understand the significance of the I am. The more you try to gauge, the higher you will find the quality. Don't belittle yourself. You are not a man or a woman. You are that principle out of which all has come. Yesterday I was in hearing in this I am state off and on, and gemstones came to my mental vision. They were so clear. They shone with a dark amber color, very beautiful. They are the precious stones of the knowledge. The stones are radiating out of the knowledge. If they shine on others, they will be liberated. Such are those precious ones. In spite of my indicating to you what you are still hanging on to the body and embracing death. What does Maharaj mean by shine on others? Does the sun ask whether my light will shine on others? Have you confirmed who you are? I find the concept that I am the sun difficult. Be without concepts. Confirm that you are not the body. Well, how do I develop love for others? Don't try to love somebody, be love. When you are love, that love will be useful to humanity. Just like water. If you are water, everything will grow. Christ said that we should love others as the self. Everything is yourself. There is no other. All this is the expression of your love. I am not going to hammer in the same guiding words again and again. You absorb it. September 26, 1979. I had an experience early this morning. I awakened and sat for meditation for 40 minutes. There were vibration-type things in my head, nothing but bliss. There were no visions. I was the center, and I had the sense of I, one on top of another. When I started coming back into duality, I heard cymbals, and into my perception comes Maharaj dancing, playing the cymbals. I said to him, "We are in the middle of a forest. Do you have to play those things all the time?" He continued playing and dancing, but there was no longer any sound. After having this experience, would you like to ask something? No. Experiences take rise in the beingness, and in that knowledge again they merge. There was the experience I am, but another was imposed on it, an attraction to get behind the I am. If the sun can enter into its own light, then you can go behind your beingness. You are the one who knows I am. All these experiences flow out of your beingness. There is no gain and no loss of the experiences. They do not affect you. That beingness will get to that spiritual path when it is in earnest to do so. But so long as a vestige of body identity persists, it will fail. All of you want experiences, but they will not help you. If the consciousness is getting restless to know the self, it will throw away everything and run to the goal. That is my own experience. Hundreds and thousands of local people and foreigners have been here. They have become my disciples and gone. I have invited none of them. It is the hunger of their own soul which brought them here. Out of the hunger and earnestness of my own soul, I came to know my own self to such an extent that Bhagavan Krishna's philosophy became mine. This Krishna consciousness is myself. Yet I am out of it. Everything is in me, is resting on me. The Absolute is Paramatman. From this total reality comes the Chidakasha, the wanting to be. From there, the physical space, the entire manifestation comes into being in a fraction of a second. In deep sleep, there is nothing. Then there is the slightest feeling that I want to be awake. Then the entire manifestation takes place within a split second. The manifest has appeared on the unmanifest and movement started. But the witness is the Absolute. The experiences that you have, do they give you anything? Are you trying to understand the central point? We call what has happened to you a vision, and that vision is always within the sight. When I first had this experience, I was aware of the witness aspect. When I experienced the sensation I asked myself to whom it had come, and it disappeared. Was this temporary, or are you in it all through the day? I am now. The continuation of that feeling I had this morning. There is something within me that is pulling me, and at the same time giving me an abstract feeling. It is just very easy for me right now to go into the I am. There is a definite feeling that permeates the head as well as the chest, and I can be gone very quickly. You are awake and are seeing the world, and the witnessing of your being awake and the seeing the world is taking place. How simple this is! In the waking state, I am so and so, and this waking state is the witness. When this waking state goes to sleep, that awareness is still there. You are the light behind the states. Krishna gave this knowledge to Arjuna. The one who listened to the knowledge wrote. So what has been given is second-hand knowledge written by a third person. Whether a Vedantist or a novelist writes, it is only through his own concepts. A novelist writes whatever comes into his imagination. Most of it is rubbish, trash, which should not have been written. All that dirt within himself has come out. Whatever you had inside yourself during your waking state exhibited itself in that experience you had. Do you mean that there is a purification process going on, that more dirt will be coming out? You are not the body. Whatever comes and goes is merely projections of the mind or consciousness. If there is the likelihood of these things coming out now, should I be concerned? Everything which you have heard, every piece of knowledge, every incident in your life, even if you think that you have forgotten, that consciousness has recorded. Every second, that consciousness is registering what you are going through. All the five senses are typing incessantly. You can go further and further, getting into deeper and deeper water, pondering over this, but you should go back, reverse, to the source. Where did you come from? Go back to the source. Take your stand in the original state. My dear, you have understood everything. Now use it. Stabilize yourself and go. September 27th, 1979. When I feel that they have sufficient knowledge on which they can continue their own search, I tell them to leave. You have allowed that knowledge to sink within your consciousness, but that knowledge will require complete rest. This would be available to you in an ashram. There are several good ones in India. The only ashram I want to be in is the island of the heart. You have achieved it, but it is not necessary that you should be physically present here. You have that island in your possession. I tell you in a very simple way, in a few words, what you should receive. And if you really try to imbibe it, it's over. For the newcomers, there is no room. I have such a small place. Suppose one wanted to stay for devotional purposes. Provided we have the room, once you catch hold of that principle which moves about in various disguises, there is an end of illusion. This principle, this consciousness, you will see as a snake, then as a buffalo, then as something else. Once you catch hold of the principle, you understand. We are only concerned with that. Don't worry about Mahatmas, only this being. Find out that principle. Don't get carried away by the worldly knowledge. Imbibe the meaning of what I have told you. Go to that source. When one actively becomes a witness, quietly observes all that is going on, it does take concentration, and it does affect the brain in itself. So you get tired after a while. Similarly, in meditation, I cannot stay in the I am stage for longer than 30 or 40 minutes. Then the brain seems to vibrate, and I have to return back to the normal condition. Will this get better, or are there any steps to be taken to get rid of the strain on the brain? Why are you dabbling in this? You know that you are sitting here. I know that you are sitting here. Who witnesses that you are sitting here? The I am. Consciousness is sitting. Who witnesses sitting? I know you are sitting here. You know that you are sitting here. It is completely open, yet very mysterious at the same time. Don't put in special efforts to witness. Just be in a relaxed condition. You are studying your mind movements at mind level. Yes, that's what I am doing. You are practicing witnessing. You are not being the witness. There is no special effort to be made. It just takes place. About concentration, it is something like running around trying to take a photograph of the government of Bombay. Can you take a photograph of the government? It is difficult to perceive the all. The same government can put handcuffs on you. Why do I have the feeling after I come down from meditation that there has been some activity and strain on the brain? That you that goes into meditation and comes down. Describe him. Why do you follow these exercises? Give them up. Just be relaxed in your natural state. That is the highest state. The lowest state is concentration and meditation. Don't get involved in anything. Stay in consciousness I am, and don't go on an intellectual binge again. Consciousness indicates to the consciousness, expounds the knowledge, but you will not dwell there. You embrace this body. The knowledge I am tells the knowledge about itself to the I am only. There is no question of others. You and me is in reference to the bodies. So we will keep quiet, for nobody is there. All quiet on the front. About the purification of the mind, what will be taking place? Repeat the mantra that was given. From that the mind gets purified. Should the mantra be said in conjunction with inhaling and exhaling? Rhythmic, yes, it is the same breath that is going on all the time, but you combine it with the mantra, that's all. You sit here, I talk for some time, and then I tell you to go, just as a mother takes care of a child. Then after some time she tells it to go and play outside. It is not that the mother does not want the child, she loves the child. The guru expounds knowledge to the disciple and takes him out of the body-mind sense, and then asks him to fend for himself. This beingness is the child of that no-beingness, absolute state. When the beingness understands the beingness, it attains no being. Then it does not bother about what happens to this beingness. First you get rid of this world, then you get rid of beingness. Actually, this is the natural state, but we cling to the body and all the trouble starts. When you do not experience the body, there are no desires or needs. But when you think you are the body, you want to satisfy your desires, thinking that then you will have peace. There is no peace in the body identity. If one's occupation is being a writer, who does the writing? The chemical, the I am consciousness. It is all a play of consciousness. Maharaj has stated that when the time is propitious, an explosion occurs within the mind that is directly antecedent to the experience of pure being. Could he enlarge on that? It is the floodgates of truth opening. Having cut off the rope, he broke the shell open. The family normally keeps a clay pot to hold buttermilk and butter. The pot is the shell and is hung from the ceiling by ropes. Having thrown open the door, he cut off the rope, the shackles, broke open the shell, the body, threw out the buttermilk and swallowed the butter, the essence, the knowledge, I am. After that, what is there? Neither I nor you. Maharaj also says that there is an incident which provokes this mechanism, and that it has to be recognized or it will go by, and you will have to wait for another incident. Don't worry about that incident prior to the explosion or about anything. You are worrying because of the intellect, but you have only to continue in that I am with faith. You have nothing else to do. You are likely to miss that incident if you try to use your intellect. Just let it happen. Hold on to the feeling I am. Don't pollute that state by holding on to the body sense. Maharaj has said that if one dwells on the type of information needed, all the information will flow from it. How does that work? Chemical does it. Can one enhance that activity in any way? You are enhancing it by coming here.